Good evening, everybody. Keith Engle here with TGI Sports Talks College Football Huddle. How's everybody doing today? Just off a raucous hour on the unprofessional professional sports show, National Streaming Sports. Always a fun time for an hour before the show. Get me laughing and in a good mood for you guys to put me in a bad one. I can't seem to change my logo up here. What the heck is going on? No, there we go. Oh, I still can't. I don't know. Well, I guess it won't hurt that we got the Jack and Keith weekend playbook up there in the corner. Tune into that on Fridays and Monday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern. I want to welcome everybody today who's watching us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Where else are we? We'll share it to all the groups. You'll see them scrolling across the bottom of the page here. It looks like we're live on Facebook. We're starting to get this right. I'm trying to get to my logos and I can't do it. Oh, there's one. Hold on. I think I got it. There we go. The groups that allow us to share, obviously, John Gonzalez, you see at the bottom of the screen. Flo and the gang at Bottom Line Sports. Let's Talk Sports. Ken Krause at Golf Bud, Sports of All Sorts. Anybody, all the college football groups, the tons of college football groups that allow me to share this content. I thank you, and we've gotten tremendous results our first 2 weeks back, and we appreciate that. After our summer hiatus, we're actually going to get some real football this weekend. Quick shout out before we do that to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph, I was on as a guest just yesterday with Ralph and Smoking Jim Frazier on the Sports Corner that they do every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern, and right here on Facebook and YouTube and other outlets to come. I guess he's got some radio opportunities coming out there in Ocean City. And he's having some cataract surgery, so we wish him well. What else? Guys, we got real football this weekend. Are we excited or not? I know it's not a lot. 5 games, 6 games. There's some good, interesting games to play. First time in week 0, we've had a matchup of top 25 teams at Iowa State and Kansas State. Kansas State is going to be one of my picks for the college football playoff, by the way. I'll go through my picks for the conferences and my playoff picks tonight. You guys can feel free to share yours as well. So, and just a quick note, Jack and I on Fridays will pick 3 college games each week, 2 favorites and an underdog. In any game you want to pick, you can do it with the points from ESPN. We're going to keep track of that. And if Jack beats my ass, I'm going to be very disappointed. So we'll go through we'll go through each of those games. So again, very short list, but I think some fun games to kind of kick off the season before we get into the real deal starting next Thursday, I think, if I'm not mistaken, week 1 with some great matchups, 3 top 10 matchups, tremendous. So we'll go through the brackets. We'll go through some news. We'll jump into some news here real quick after I say some hellos. We got a few comments up here. And obviously, we'll let you guys share your thoughts. Good evening, Rick Sherlock. How are you? I'm really down on Rick's Georgia. He has not commented yet on the fact that I have Georgia as the most likely team to fall out of the top 25. Or top 10. To fall out of the top 10. Every year, one team basically will fall out of the top 10 and out of the rankings. Miami, and I have Miami first, actually. Georgia's right there, though. And I think Georgia will be disappointing and not win the SEC this year. I think it'll be a good football team. Don't get me wrong. Dave Guyette, good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good evening out in Amsterdam, New York. I'm not high in your Syracuse Orangemen this year either. I think middle of the pack in the AC is about the best you're going to look for from them. Michael Ditton Edwards, how are you? Good to have you with us. Love doing this show. No need to thank me. It's one of my joys is to come on this show and all the shows that I do. And check out Michael's writings, by the way. I know I owe you some quotes, Michael, and I got to reread the notes we talked about. I'm probably going to have one long quote for you, and you can break it up any way you want. About the, I believe we were talking about, and God, we'll talk about it here, the overrated selective prosecution, the selective, what is there's another word I'm looking for. I had it last week. I was using prosecution. I had another word I wanted. I found it, and I've lost it again. 65-year-old brain. We'll have some comments about that as we talk about Michigan is one of the stories we'll have to talk about a little bit today. Boomer, Alan, how are you, my friend? Hope you're feeling better. I know that you're still having some back issues and whatnot, and we wish you well, and we send our great positive thoughts your way. Listen, I'm not confident your coach to me is the most vulnerable of all the Power 5 coaches right now as we speak. Brent Venable has not gotten it done, and it's not good enough. I don't care that he moved to the SEC. Brent Venable is in trouble. Coordinators, I should say, former Clemson coaches have not done well elsewhere. Dabo Sweeney coaches. Week 0 is important this season. It's certainly important to Iowa State. It's certainly important to K-State. Again, that Big 12 is going to be wide open as it has been for several years. Last year was topsy-turvy. I mean, the teams that we all thought were going to finish near the bottom finished near the top. And the teams at the top, predicted finish at the top, were at the bottom. So that's always an interesting league. So very important for them. I think the UNLV game is a big game, opening the Dan Mullen era out there. I think UNLV is one of the teams with a shot at that group of 5. Playoff. Excuse me. I'm trying to write this down here. Okay, something I had forgotten to write down. I don't want to forget about the group of 5 playoff selections. So as we speak, I'm going to be making changes maybe to my playoff selections. We'll get to them after I do the conferences, and we'll do that for sure. I'll give you my updated picks that I shared on our show last Saturday. How do you have updated picks already? We haven't started this season. This is why preseason polls are like nonsensical, right? I'm not going to go with chalk in these. Some of it's chalk, I guess. But you'll see I will not go with chalk. I'll give you a favorite. I'm going to give you my favorite to win each conference and a dark horse. And sometimes it's the same team. I know I've done this a couple of times. But one of my teams to make the playoff, they bit me in the ass last year. I took a lot of grief about it. And I'm still going to be back with them this year. So, but share your updated picks. That's fine, Alan. The preseason polls are they should really hold them for a couple of weeks of real football because it's unfair to teams. The top 25 is turned over pretty much the last 3-4 seasons. Like 50% of the poll is turned over. So when I say that, it means 50% of the teams picked in the top 25 don't finish in the top 25. We're basing it on virtually nothing other than history, especially this year. You know, when you look at the rankings and all the teams near the top in the AP poll with new quarterbacks, Texas, Ohio State, Georgia. Well, I'm going to say Georgia, I guess. You got to say Georgia. You didn't start with that quarterback last year. Notre Dame, Oregon. I think Oregon. Alabama. And Miami. That's like 6 or 7 of the top 10 teams. I can't count. We'll talk about all of that. Jack is training He's training for Jake Paul, if you didn't hear earlier. We got to bring that up Friday, Rick. It might be a big payday for Jack. If the Bulldogs of Georgia were to fall out of top 25, the entire landscape south of Tennessee might actually try to file for an annulment from the Continental USA. Listen, it's not like Georgia spent their entire football history in the top 25. I mean, this is before Kirby Smart. I mean, this team only had, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, you can disagree with me if you like, but Georgia's had spurts of good football teams under Vince Dooley. And let me just, I want to see something now. Again, I always talk about this. I mean, is Georgia blue blood the way we talk about Alabama, USC? Sorry, yes, they are blue blood. Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma. Nebraska. I don't see Georgia the same way. Recently, yes. When I talk about blue bloods, I mean, were the programs relevant for decades and decades and decades, right? I say this about Miami all the time. Miami fans think they're a blue blood. No, they're not. Miami was relevant from '83, and they have a tad of relevancy today. But relevant from what, 1982 to 2003? Before that and after that, again, not consistently relevant. So I don't know. And again, I'm not going to say Georgia's exactly that way. Let me see if I can get some. Let me just look at Wikipedia quickly, unless Rick's going in there and changing this right now. I mean, let's see. Where was this? Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, major bowl games, 41, 42, 45. A lot of in the 40s, they were really good. No final rankings, though. How do I get the final rankings? Hard to get the. I give you a lot of information, but I'm not getting like final rankings each year. I got to get into the Football Reference for that. You know, maybe I'm being too hard on them. Am I? Tell me if I am. You know, obviously, since Kirby Smart's got there, this team's been relevant. They've been great since 2017. But his first couple of years, they weren't. Well, I shouldn't say that. His first year, they went to the second year, they went to the Rose Bowl, played in the semifinal. Okay. First year, not so great, Liberty Bowl. They're not giving me the records of these teams. I'm being too hard on them. I know I'm being too hard on them. But I don't think the world would stop. Alabama fell off the face of the earth for nearly 20 years, except for a couple of years when Gene Stallings was there between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. Don't think it can't happen. Hugh Freeze's worst, honestly. Auburn's more worried about past titles than trying to prepare for Baylor. I think Hugh Freeze is underrated as a coach myself. I think Auburn will bounce back a bit this year. I don't think they compete for a major bowl game, but I think they'll be better. UNLV will definitely get the golden ring from the group of five. That's going to be my pick right now as we speak. Hello, Ralph Williams. As I mentioned, check out Ralph's stuff on RW Media. I was on with Ralph and Smoking Jim Frazier on the Sports Corner. He does that every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern, as I mentioned. So check out Ralph's stuff. Ralph, more to come. As we said, Ralph, good luck with that cataract surgery that you got coming up. Texas beats OSU in the Horseshoe week 1. Well, they can't play them. Oh, I'm sorry. OSU. I was thinking of somebody else. I got Texas. I like Texas in that game. I get it. Ohio State's at home. They both have first-time quarterbacks in Sayin and Manning. I just think Texas has got more coming back than OSU. It remains to be seen whether they can replace 14 guys who just went to the pros as well as Georgia has. And listen, the only reason I'm down on Georgia a little bit has been because of all this attrition over the last, good God. Since 2017, as I said, 18, 19, 20. These guys were having double-digit guys go to the NFL several of those years. Not as easy as you would think. So, again, let me go back to my point. They were 43, 18, and 9 under in the first coach of the 1900s. They were like 1 and 4. Then they were 43, 18, and 9 under Stegman, 20 and 6. I can't tell if we're winning national championships here or anything. I don't think we are. I'll check out the coaching awards. Their program was not much. I guess you get to Well, you get to 1939 under Wally Butts, they were pretty good, 140 and 86. That's 615. That's not like, Bud Wilkinson territory, Bear Bryant territory. Johnny Griffin for 2 years, they go under 500. Vince Dooley, great run from 64 to 88. But I talk about programs disappearing. They were okay under Mark Richt, right? Who I have a soft spot for. So basically from 89, when Vince Dooley retires, to 2017, they weren't winning any big games. So again, similar to Miami, irrelevant for 20 years. Similar to what I said about Alabama, from Bear to Saban. Not a lot of good years. Michael, everybody seems to live in SEC country that comes on the show, Michael. And Georgia fans act like blue bloods. Yes, they believe they are. I wonder if Rick hasn't commented. I don't know whether he's mad at me or waiting till they win their opener and shut me up. Listen, I don't think they'll have a bad year. I mean, if they go 9-3, that's not a horrible year. They just won't make the playoff. That's all. So would you consider yourself an SEC elitist, Michael? I can't remember who you told me your college. Oh, I thought we said Michigan. You're a Michigan guy, but you live in SEC country. That's got to be tough. Between Stafford and the Smart era, Georgia was not the powerhouse we know to be today. 100%. Talk was always Georgia's the bridesmaid, never the bride. I'll say that. Doesn't make him irrelevant necessarily, but I'm probably being too hard on him, quite frankly, Alan. But again, I don't consider them a blue blood the way I do the other teams that I mentioned. And by the way, I left Notre Dame out of that. Here's Rick. Hang on. I work for the tourism industry. That's Michael again, and have to deal with the Bulldog fans. Rick and Michael may be coming to blows here. Trust me, they're entitled and believe they should have a golden ticket to the playoffs, even above Alabama. Well, now that they won a few times, I mean, you get to feel that way after you win back-to-back championships. And I had picked them to go for 3 in a row 2 years ago. Didn't work out. Kirby Smart's done a great job there. I certainly am not going to bash them, and I don't know any fans except Rick, and Rick's a reasonable guy most of the time. LSU, there's a lot of to me. There's a lot of fan bases that kind of feel that way, right? I get, and James, if you're out there, I apologize ahead of time. LSU fans, to me, seem to have this sense of entitlement that I don't know where they got it from. Yeah, they've won some national championships in the last 2 decades under Miles and Nick Saban and Ed Orgeron. Still makes me laugh. I think he won a national championship. Fran Tarkentini era to Walker, 2-1 short of a 3-peat. Yeah, I think that's what I was talking about, right? In between, not a lot going on. I think that's what you're talking about, Rick, if I'm reading your I mean, when was Tarkenton was there at that end of that Wally Butts run, I'm going to guess, since he left in 1960. After Tarkin was gone, they went 10-16 for 3 years. Then Vince Dooley comes in. And Vince Dooley, by the way, he was a good football coach, but he wasn't a great coach till Herschel got there, which I think Rick is saying. And Kirby Smart has made them Alabama for the moment. For the moment. But I'm going to be picking on, and Michael says, good luck, Ralph, with your surgery. We all wish you good luck there, Ralph. Did you know they apparently have 3 different play callers in Auburn's system? Well, that's brilliant. One for first down, one for third down. Hugh Freeze calls second down at any point, and at any point can overrule the other 2. Well, it's hard. Listen, it's hard for head coaches to be play callers. There are some that do it, obviously. I think Shark calls his offense at Texas for the most part. Freeze should be calling the offense at Auburn. He did it at Liberty, and you saw the success that they had there. And I know Liberty isn't playing the SEC, so don't tell me blah, 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 blah. He had great success there. Rejuvenated his career. I just don't know. We'll get to some picks here in a second. I'm going to go through some. Let me go through some news real quick. Let me get through these last couple. I got a bunch of comments. Maybe we won't even get through them. I don't know. Attrition. If you're looking, if you're losing hair at a rapid pace, Michael, why are we talking about hair again? Sooner or later, you become bald. We got to come up with new analogies, Michael. I'm a hardcore Michigan fan. I did remember that the last second. There's AC. How are you, my friend? AC, you're gonna love my dark horse national championship pick. Plus 15,000. Probably not gonna happen. I don't know that I'm making this pick. I don't know yet. I'm looking at some things. I'll give you my pick before week 1, but I'm going to tell you dark horse tonight. Is USC still a blue blood? What year for you're? I don't know that you lose your blue blood status unless you're really bad over a long period of time, right? I mean, USC's been bad really since Pete Carroll left town. Not bad, right? Just not great. I guess you got to lose it eventually. I would say Oklahoma has held on to theirs. Probably, if I had to pick one of these teams to kick out of the blue blood club, it would probably be USC. But I mean, again, it's only 20 years ago that they were winning nearly, 3 out of 4 years. They won a national championship, and Oklahoma was winning under Bob Stoops even more recently than that, and going to the playoff under both Stoops and Lincoln Riley. So. Oklahoma has it. This shines off USC a little bit. I don't know where Danny Fuller is, but he'd probably be happy to hear me say that. Hello, JB. How are you? Good to have you with us. Check out JB's Back It Up Binge podcast on YouTube. A lot of great interviews there. Great players make great coaches, period. Hard to win with worse players than on the other side. Just saying. Well, I'm going to tell you, I agree somewhat, but I disagree as well. I think in college, a good coach can make a huge difference. I think even in the NFL, less so in the NFL, you come in, you change the culture, you can make a difference. And a couple, 3, depending on what we're talking about. You need great players to win championships, right? Great coaches can turn mediocre teams into very good teams, maybe even great teams. They can turn okay players into great players based on work ethic, culture, and whatnot. Well, maybe you can't change a guy's work ethic unless you motivate him to do so. Again, one of my favorite coaches of all time never won a Super Bowl, and we're talking about NFL now, not college, was now I've forgotten his name. Bum Phillips, sorry. And one of his famous sayings was, you're good when you can take yours and beat theirs, and you can take theirs and beat yours. Coaches make a difference. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to be on one of the teams I'm on in the playoff this year. I did say plus 15,000, by the way. Yes. Michael, are you an alum? They will need a cash. Listen, here's the thing. If you think $30 million is going to hurt the University of Michigan, you're nuts. Michigan should shut up and not appeal this thing, because basically this is a slap on the wrist, getting a $30 million fine and no sanctions. No sanctions. That's what hurts college football programs, Rick. That's fining them $30 million. Taking away scholarships, banning you from bowl games. That's what hurts these universities, not fines. And Sherrone Moore was listen, it's not a big deal. And again, for no reason, as Michael will be writing a I got to go back. I missed a couple comments. I'm going to come back up. Michael's going to be writing an article that I will have some comments in here soon. That again, how this is one of the biggest jokes of all time. This whole, I will say one more time. I am not condoning cheating ever. It's two different things. When I don't defend cheaters. What I'm saying to you is when everybody else is doing the same thing you are, and they have selective enforcement, there's the word I've been looking for, then, it's not that big a deal. Because if you wanted to go after everybody, then everybody be getting fined $30 million, including Ohio State, maybe not the Golden Boys down there in Georgia and Alabama, because they don't do anything wrong down there. They play by 100% above board. They don't look for any advantages or any edges. They don't look for anything because the SEC, it doesn't smell when they go to the bathroom. Everybody's trying to get an edge. Everybody's doing things like Connor Stallion did. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying everybody's doing it. And then you select who, whether it's the NCAA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, they all decide, let's go after Bill Belichick, right? Let's go after Pete Carroll. Let's go after Jim Harbaugh. Let's go after the Houston Astros for whatever reason. Everybody's doing the same things those teams did. Everybody. Well, maybe not. Look at again. Literally everybody? No. The teams that are trying to win are all looking for an advantage and doing the same kind of things. Anybody doesn't think so isn't paying attention. Or again, they're in the bathroom stalls at Georgia and Alabama, and they think, that it's cows. Anyway, it is what it is. It's over. Who cares? Nobody cares. I don't care. If I don't care, then nobody should care. Where was I here? I missed a couple here. But again, you're entitled to think what you think. People hate Jim Harbaugh. They went after Jim Harbaugh. They got Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's laughing all the way to San Diego, LA. And, he's happy as a clam. He's got a national championship, which I can't take away from him. Nobody talks about the two games Ohio State was getting Michigan signals from other teams. That's okay, apparently. Go do it on your own, though. We're going to enforce the penalties on you. He deserves a ton of credit for what he did at Liberty. He's struggling at Auburn. He's in trouble, without a doubt. I mean, Venable. And listen, I think there's probably 4 or 5 coaches in the SEC. I talked about it last week that are in trouble. Is BC going to be over 500 this year? Winning season for the Eagles? I love Bill O'Brien. I really do. I haven't looked at this closely. Let me go to this here. This will be our first team that will do I've got them, by the way, in the bottom half of the ACC this year. Let's see what we can give you. Fordham, you're going to win. At Michigan State, I don't think you're going to win that game. 1-1. At Stanford, I'm not sure you're going to win that game. 1-2. Cal at home, I'll give you that one. 2-2. At Pitt, Pitt's going to be better than you think. 2-3. Clemson, you're losing. Clemson is going to be really good. That's what? What I give you? 1, 2, 3, 4 losses so far. UConn, you'll beat. Louisville, at Louisville, you're going to lose. That's 5 losses. You're going to lose to Notre Dame. You're going to lose SMU. I think this team's 5-7. I think you'll beat Georgia Tech and Syracuse, but I think 5-7. Mike, we did ask that, yeah. 15,000. Oklahoma's more of a blue blood than Texas. No, they're not. Texas is a blue blood. They're about, I would say they're, listen, it's not a bad argument. I can give you that. Again, forget about, when I say blue blood, Alan, blue blood doesn't mean to the time you were born or even the time I was born. Right? Oklahoma has great history going back to the 40s with Bud Wilkinson, who was there to the mid-60s. And then with Barry Switzer. And even they had a big downtime after Switzer left, right? And they had to go through, Blake and Howard Schnellenberger, who was a bad fit there, and a couple other coaches before they got to Bob Stoops. Texas had down years after Fred Akers. You had great years. By the way, in the 50s and 60s, by the way, Alan, Texas was great. So, again, we got to remember, nobody cares. I mean, Colt McCoy, those teams won national championships. And Texas, I would say, has as many national championships since 2005 as Oklahoma. Am I not wrong? Am I wrong? Again, I'm doing this off the top of my head. 15, if that's 150 to 1, I believe. 100 to win 100 to win. So I'll bet 100 to win 15,000. If I go this way, I'm really, I don't know that I'm going to do it because it's really off the radar. I got to tell you. Case in point, Michigan got a lot of top recruits this offseason, even after the ruling. There you go. Hi, Rick. I'm contributing $11.27 to the fund. Thank you. Everyone cheats in sports. Fact, it doesn't smell it. LOL. Doesn't smell in the bathroom. LOL. Everyone at every level looks for an edge, period. I don't know if I'll give you my bathroom analogy and my quotes, Michael, but we'll see. Plus, the NCAA had it out for Harbaugh anyway, so they were going to drive him out of Michigan somehow. He was probably going to leave anyway, quite frankly. Again, it's almost like, the OJ thing. You go find any college coach and you go frame him for something, you're going to frame a guy who's already guilty of something anyway. Because I believe firmly, like the OJ case, I believe firmly the cops framed him, but he was also killed the guys, killed the people. So they framed a guilty man. Great job. Selective punishment is BS, and it happens in every freaking sport. Once I decide I want you and I got you in my bullseye, well, then you're mine. He's wearing his khakis. Wearing his khakis, driving his Tesla with $1 million bill and cup holder. I love this show, but I have to run. See you later, buddy. You have a great night, Michael. Thank you for participating. Let's go through the conferences, shall we? Here we're going to go through, and I'm going to give you my winners in every single conference. Okay? I'll give you a winner, and I'm going to give you my dark horse. And we'll start with the big boys, I guess. Let me go backwards here because I got out of here. So this is my my roadmap. We're going to start in the Big 12. In the Big 12, it's one of the betting favorites. Arizona State, Kansas State, Texas Tech with $55 million invested in this in this team. Everybody got all upset about Ohio State and $20 million last year. $55 million. I'm going to pick Kansas State to win this conference. I think they start off with a win in Dublin against Iowa State. This is a big game with playoff implications. Iowa State is probably looks like the 8th betting choice here, but they could win. I mean, look at anyone: Arizona State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Utah, Baylor, Iowa State. All these teams could win. And that doesn't. BYU had a great season last year. I'm going to make Kansas my sleeper here, okay? So my favorite is Kansas. Let me write this down. I'm going to try to save this if I can. And my dark horse in this conference will be Kansas. So Kansas State to win. Kansas is my dark horse. Like it? That puts Kansas State in the playoff, by the way. ACC. I'm going with a chalk here. Clemson and Dabo Swinney are back. They've got a talented veteran team. He doesn't believe in the transfer portal. It's hurt him through the years. He's got, again, a veteran seasoned quarterback in Klubnik. I think this is the second year under Riley, Lincoln Riley's brother, as the OC. I think Clemson is back in a big way. I think they win this. I think Clemson could make a run in the playoff, which we'll talk about maybe later, maybe down the road a little bit. Because I don't necessarily have them ranked just yet, but maybe I'll do that for next week's show. And the dark horse here, Miami, I think, has a shot at making the playoff, by the way. I've got them in the playoff. And the dark horse here, I'm going to say watch out for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And a team that is kind of a where am I? I just did this is Big 12. Let me change this because I switched my places around here. So I picked Clemson, the chalk, to win here, and I made Georgia Tech my dark horse. The team that's nobody knows. They could win 3 games. They could win 10 games. Is like North Carolina and Bill Belichick. Nobody knows what's going to happen here. I'm going to go through these 4 power conferences, and then we'll go through some comments, and then I'll pick the rest. Okay, there you go. Big Ten. Guys are going to love this pick. I'm not picking Penn State because Penn State, I think they've only got Ohio State on the roster, but they can't win. They're 1-12 against for top 5 teams. They're 4-20 against top 25 teams. He's 4-16, I think, against Ohio State and Michigan. James Franklin has got to prove to me that he can win. I'm picking Oregon to win this conference, but the dark horse here, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and the Nebraska Cornhuskers are going to make the playoff. And you might be seeing where I might be taking a flyer on Oregon, Nebraska. I said this a couple times. I said this last year about Nebraska and Matt Rule. Well, I'll tell you what. I was a year too early. I should have held my prediction to this year because year 4 under Matt Rule, and he's a great college coach, by the way. He's got a true sophomore quarterback who went through the wars last year in Rayala. And I think this is the year 4 for Matt Rule at college. He took Temple to a really good bowl game, and I think he went 10-3. He lost 2 games at Baylor, just missed out on getting to the college football playoff that year. If he could have gotten to the through the Big 12 championship game, but he went to the Sugar Bowl that year in his 4th year at Baylor. Baylor, no, don't sleep on Nebraska. I'm telling you right now. And the SEC, everybody loves Texas. I like Alabama. I like Kalen DeBoer to win big this year. 2 losses, by the way, is going to still get you in the SEC championship game. The problem in the Big Ten, the SEC, they're going to devour each other. 2 losses, you're going to get into the playoff. I think Georgia is overranked. They're the second pick here in what I'm looking at here, at least. I like Alabama, who's the third choice. My dark horse to win this whole thing, outside of them, South Carolina. Be careful of South Carolina. They're just on the outside of my playoff pick right now. So in the SEC, we got Alabama, and we've got what I said my dark horse was South Carolina. So anyway, let's see. Do we have some picks here we can talk about? And then we'll move on. There's Jeremy, the kneecap biting with the Motor City Lions. How are you, my friend? Good to see you with us. Not liking Michigan's chances in the Big Ten this year. Allen's picks, Big 12, Texas Tech. Sure, take the team that spends $55 million. Dark horse, Oklahoma State. Listen, I was all over Oklahoma State last year. I love Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy's on maybe the second hottest seat to Brett Venable in the country, by the way. They need to recover. I don't see them doing it. But that's a good long shot pick. I love Mike Gundy. The betting odds have them last in this conference. Winless in the Big 12 last year. That would be a big rebound season for this team. Texas Tech, they're tied for the with Arizona State, Kansas State, and Texas Tech as a betting favorite in the Big 12. ACC winner and number 1 seed Clemson. I'll take Clemson as a number 1 seed as well. Dark horse Louisville. That's not a bad pick, Louisville. I don't have them there. Even though I have Georgia Tech as a dark horse, I'm still picking Miami to make it as an at-large. One big change with the playoff, don't forget, the seeding will be straight seeding, right? So the group of 5 winner, by the way, is not going to be the 4th seed or the 5th seed. Guess whatever it can be. Big 10, Penn State. You got more faith in that guy than me. And they may very well win. They've got the best team in the Big 12, the Big 10. Best team in the Big 10. They got a veteran quarterback. They got great receivers. They got good running backs. They got a really stout defense. The only thing they don't have is a coach with any kind of track record. That at least one that's any good. It's not any good. Nebraska, he's got my dark horse. I got Nebraska getting to the playoff, by the way. We'll talk about that after, and we may be taking a pot shot at them. We may bet a couple teams who win the national championship this year. I don't know. SEC, LSU, dark horse, South Carolina. LSU is a good pick. Another guy, though, who, by the way, he can't win the first game of the year. He's got a big game against Clemson in week 1. Brian Kelly has underperformed with very talented teams, more talented than this one in my mind. I don't think I'm sold on Nussmeier yet. But the SEC is wide open. I mean, to me, Texas could win. I could be totally wrong about Georgia, and they could win. Alabama could win. LSU could win. Florida could surprise us. Great finish last year. All their losses to teams that were ranked in the top 15 at one point. South Carolina, great finish. Can they get off to a great start? Lenore Sellers, maybe the Heisman Trophy favorite. Arch Manning is the betting favorite. I think right now Sellers is the best player in the country until somebody knocks him off that pedestal based on his finish last year. I like the quarterback in Florida. Billy Napier got himself off the hot seat. It's warm now, but we'll see about the rest of it. Michigan, if they have better quarterback play, could make waves, but not win the conference. They'll have some ups and downs, yes. I think both Ohio State. I got Ohio State in the playoff right now, and that could change before next week. I think too many players are gone from there. I have really 2 dark horses in the Big Ten, and Illinois is the other one. But Underwood, again, is how well he plays is probably going to drive where this season goes for them. Slayton is going to have to play well for Ohio State to do well. They got talent coming back at wide receiver, which they always have. They've become wide receiver U lately. I just don't know that they've got whether they've got the depth that a Georgia had to keep replacing guys year after year. But I think they'll play some good games, right? And Ohio State, Michigan's always going to be big. And by the way, that national championship that I'm having another one of those moments. You know what I'm talking about. Ohio State won the national championship last year. Sorry. They don't beat Ohio State. coach. I'm sorry, they don't beat Michigan this year. The coach will be right back in the crosshairs. He won't get fired this year, but you're not. That national championship isn't buying you as much time as you think. And I still think he ends up at some point in the pros. I've said this for a while. I think Ryan Day is built for the pros, and it's possible if he wants to stay local there, the Cleveland Browns will be looking for a head coach after next season. We'll see. I think you mentioned this before that Tech was a homer pick for you. Both your aunts graduated from Texas Tech. Listen, we're going to find out whether money can buy a conference championship. I don't think money bought Ohio State a national championship last year necessarily. They were going to have talent no matter what. Texas Tech should have more talent than they've ever had. When they were good under Mike Leach, they should be better than any of those teams with $55 million to spend. Or spent, I should say. Big 12, Tech, Texas Tech, ACC, Clemson, or Miami. I'm in the same boat. I do have Georgia Tech as a dark horse there, but I've got both Clemson and Miami in the playoff. The SEC, Alabama, dark horse, South Carolina. We're all on the same page here, Jeremy. Six-pack, dark horse, everyone. The six, I like UNLV as the, I don't know if that's what we're talking about here actually, but the group of five pick is UNLV for me, which we'll talk about in just a second. I'm going to go through the rest of these conferences real quick. In the American Conference, I think Army be good again this year. Navy, I think, is really, really, really good. But Tulane is good. They got the kid coming in from BYU to play quarterback. If he can put those problems behind him, maybe use them to motivate himself. I don't know. You know, where do you go to get your reputation back, as they say? Could be a distraction. I think Tulane and Navy are the classiest of this conference. I'm gonna pick Tulane to win it, and kind of Navy as my dark horse there. The ACC we already did. The Big 12 we did. Conference USA. Liberty is good. Liberty's a favorite here. Liberty should win this conference in my mind. A team to keep an eye on would be the Sam Houston Bearcats in this conference. And I think one of these two teams could compete for that group of five pick, by the way. Independence, we got Notre Dame. I do have Notre Dame making the playoff, by the way, which I'll go to in a second. In the Mid-American Conference, I'm going to pick Buffalo as my dark horse. And the worst team in the country resides here. If you want to have a black horse and a team that's definitely not going to win, it'd be Kent State, by the way. But I'm going to pick Buffalo as my dark horse, and the favorite I think will be for me. By the way, Massachusetts has joined the MAC this year. They're not a independent any longer. I'll pick the favorite here as the Ohio Bobcats. How about that? And we'll come back to your comments as soon as I finish up here. Mountain West, Boise State's still going to be good. They are ranked 25th, if that means anything in the preseason polls. I like Fresno State. They got a nice matchup here in week 1, by the way, with who do they have here? Oh, it's only set to top 25. Bear with me a second. Fresno State and Kansas. This is really an interesting game, I think, in week 0. So keep an eye on this. I like Kansas in this game, which we'll talk about in a second. But Fresno State, I think, has a chance to win this league. Vegas is going to be my favorite to win this league and the favorite to get the group of 5 pick. I'll take Fresno as my dark horse. How's that? Pac-12, which has 2 teams in it. I'll pick Washington State. And the Sun Belt, which I know is where Allen had picked his group of 5 winner from in James Madison. I've got them, on the outside right now, but as a chance to get there. I'm going to say James Madison. This is one of the few leagues with 2 divisions still, by the way. So App State in the East, with James Madison in the East with App State as a dark horse. And on the western side of this, let's take we'll take Texas State as the favorite and Arkansas State as a dark horse. How about those picks? If they lose to Michigan and miss the playoff, he's gone. He won't get fired. Allen, he's not getting fired. He may decide to get out in front of the posse. And I said for a while, I thought Ryan Day would end up in the NFL. And I thought the last hiring cycle when the Browns were looking for a coach, he might have gone then. He did not. He stayed at Ohio State. He won his national championship. If he loses to Michigan, I will say this. I don't care if he makes a playoff or not. If he loses to Michigan, he's the next coach of the Cleveland Browns. American winner, Tulane, dark horse, East Carolina. Tulane's going to be good. And if the quarterback's good, they're going to be good. All depends. South Carolina, Liberty, and Jacksonville State is a dark horse. That's a good one. Liberty's definitely in play. I think Liberty, I think James Madison, I think Texas State, I think are all in play. Boise State, obviously, UNLV, my favorite, are all in play for that group of 5 pick. And I don't think that's not a huge, they're the best team. We don't have to pick an independent, by the way. Notre Dame could miss. So my first 4 seeds are going to be Oregon, Alabama, Kansas State, Clemson. I'll rank them all right now. My group of 5 winner will be UNLV. They'll be ranked 12th. Notre Dame will be 5. Texas will be 6. Penn State will be 7. Miami will be 8. Nebraska will be 9. Ohio State will be 10. That one is up in the air. And 11 will be Illinois. There's my playoff picks. Ranking those first 4, I'm going to say Alabama, Clemson, Kansas State, Oregon. Okay, we can figure it out from there. Now you got my playoff picks, you got my conference winners, you got everything. By the way, Alan, do me a favor. If you would, or can, and I'll put both of these up for you. I would love it if you wanted to get in our college football pick 'em. I got to find my games here. I can't seem to find them. Hold on. College football picks. Here we go. View the group. I'm going to put in, for anybody that's out there, here's the link for the college football pick 'em. We'll start week 1. You'll see a bunch of these will probably pop up in a row. So you can click on that link and go there. And also, if you want the pro, I'll give you guys the pro one too, even though it's my college show. We'll share the pro one on a couple of more shows. Yeah, let me get to my pro pick here. That's nose pickers. We don't want that one. And Alan, if you want to share this with some of your friends and your peeps, feel free to do both. I'd love to have you at least in the college one, though, with us. That'd be a lot of fun. So there you go. There's my picks. There's the other nonsense we got going on. I like this. I'm excited about the games this week, which we'll get to here in a second. Make sure I didn't miss anything with these things going up. Sometimes that messes me up. All right. Alan, love to have you in the college football pick'em. I think there's 10 or 12 games every week you pick. It's not a lot. I did it straight. No confidence points or anything like that. So the NFL is just straight win or lose. That's it. What else we got going on here? News. We got news. More news. Hold on. We got Alan's picks here. This is your Clemson, Penn State. Again, they got to prove it to me. LSU, Ohio State, 4. So you got the really. So you're going to have two teams. No, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. Okay. You got. Okay. So Kansas State is a team that could possibly not get a bye. And that's a team I can probably move, to be quite frank with you. I probably miss that. I'll re-rank. I'm going to re-rank my teams before next week because I wasn't thinking about it before I did it here just now on the fly. I'll likely have the same teams in my playoff, but I may re-rank them only because I think I'm going to drop Kansas State. I was forgetting about the new rule this year. I'm probably going to move Notre Dame into that top 4. And I'm going to move Kansas State maybe down behind Texas Tech, Texas, maybe behind Penn State. I might have them down at 7 or 8, quite frankly, winning the Big 12, which you've got 8 Texas Tech. You got your Big 12 winner at 8. I may do that same thing. Nebraska, I'm a little surprised we agree there. South Carolina, James Madison is your. So South Carolina makes the playoff. Who don't you have that I have? Miami, you don't have in. Miami's season is going to hinge on the right arm of the quarterback. Carson Beck can't throw the football. This team won't win. And hopefully they're going to stop somebody. I do like the fact, by the way, you don't have Alabama in here. I like Alabama a lot, mostly because I think Ty Simpson is going to be really good, and the fact that Alabama offense will be better, even though their best offensive player is gone in Milroe. I think you're going to see Kalen DeBoer's offense as his offensive coordinator from Washington has now joined him. He didn't join him right away. He'll be on the sideline with him. I think this Alabama offense will be much better and much more consistent next year, even with a first-time quarterback playing. You don't have Illinois in there either. I like Illinois a lot. Brett Bielema did a great job there last year, and they have almost their entire team back, which is like unheard of in this day and age. I think Illinois is a real sleeper in that Big Ten. I've got Nebraska as a dark horse, but Illinois could be another team I would classify the same way. And AC, it's possible I'm going to take a flyer on Nebraska plus 15,000. Don't have a lot of confidence in that just yet, but let me look at some other odds here. And these aren't the ones I would get because this isn't DraftKings. This is going to be ESPN's odds. This is national championship odds. Here's your favorites right now, by the way. So Ohio State and Texas are tied at plus 550. Penn State's plus 650. Again, how you make them the third choice when he can't beat anybody in the top 5? Top 10, top 20, 4-20 against top 20 teams. Georgia's the 4th choice at plus 800. Clemson plus 900. Could be worth a bet. Alabama plus 900. Notre Dame's 1,100. Not as good a value pick as it was last year, AC, but Oregon plus 1,500. Now we get into Michigan at 3,500. Florida at 4,000. Miami at 4,000. There's a team I could take a shot at, too. I'll give you my national championship pick next week after I think about this a little bit more. because I'm not going to make my pick until Tuesday. I think Draft Kings has some special on future bets on Tuesday. I got to look into see what that is. So I've held off on any future bets till then. Ole Miss 5,000, Texas A&M 5,000. Your Sooners are plus 6,000, Alan. If you want to put $10 on them, you can win 600. Auburn plus 7,500. Little surprised to see them right there with Oklahoma. South Carolina 7,500. Another live dog. That's a good value pick. Probably not going to do it. Other teams that could win conferences, plus 10,000 on Arizona State. USC's a team I almost put as my dark horse in the Big Ten. Almost found a way to slide them into the playoff. Louisville plus 10,000. Baylor plus 10,000. Kansas State, I mentioned, plus 10,000. Even with a $55 million payroll, Texas Tech at 10,000, plus 10,000. Nebraska's at 15,000, along with Indiana, Georgia Tech, Utah, Iowa. Iowa's going to be a lot better this year, by the way. The offense is actually going to look like a real offense potentially. I love this kid that's coming down. I think it's from South Dakota State to play quarterback. SMU, 15,000. They got a lot of their guys back, including their quarterback, Jennings. Illinois, plus 20,000. Colorado, plus 30. Bill Belichick is plus 30,000 if you want to make a real big wager. So anyway, if I bet Nebraska $100 to win the national championship, it's $15,000. That's going out. That's a little bit more than saying they're a dark horse and they'll make a playoff, right? Now, it may make them. I don't think I can. They don't have the futures here. I can go into DraftKings. They're going to ask me for double verification. I don't want to do it. May bet them a future just to make the playoff. Maybe a smaller bet to win it all, and maybe somebody else to back it up. We'll see. The games this week, and then we'll look at some other news. The games this week, starting at noon on Saturday, we got some good games. This game's, as I said, in Dublin. Kansas State's a 3-point favorite over Iowa State. Two really good coaches in Klieman and Campbell. I like Kansas State here. I like Kansas State, as I said, to win this conference. This is going to be a big stepping stone, I think. Two ranked teams, first time in week 0 we've had that since they started week 0. Michael wrote about week 0 and the number 0, or the word 0, the other day. Idaho State against Vegas. Vegas is going to be a 26.5-point favorite here, so it's going to be a tough bet. Not going to bet this game. I don't know if I'll bet. I might bet Kansas State. Been like UNLV to win this game and probably win it going away. Whether they'll win by 26.5, I don't know. Kansas and Fresno State is on at 6 p.m. on. I don't have a television for. I'm sure I can get Idaho State, UNLV somewhere. But Fox has got Fresno State and Kansas. I think a fun matchup. I like KU in this game, minus 13. Possibly. Again, Kansas is a team that could surprise. They were really bad in the first half of last year, really came on strong and played really well. And Lance Leopold still, I think, one of the most respected coaches and somebody who you want to keep an eye on leaving Kansas after this year. A little surprised he's still there now. If Sam Houston will play Western Kentucky, if you're going to hold a gun to my head, I'll take Sam Houston and the points here. And Stanford will go to Hawaii in an interesting game. Hawaii, a 2.5-point favorite. Stanford, new coach, new GM. Oliver Luck is in charge of everything. Andrew Luck. Oliver Luck was his father. Excuse me. Andrew Luck is in charge of everything there. Still some controversy swirling around this program with lawsuits being filed by the coach. Stanford could go out there and beat Hawaii. Hawaii's not very good. Better at home, obviously, because of that long trip. So there you have it. That's the games that we have this weekend. Jack and I will also make some picks on Friday. We'll be picking 3 games. So this will pretty big. This will be pretty easy for me for my 3 games to pick. Kansas State, Kansas, and my dog will be Sam Houston. So there you go. A lot of fun. It's so fun to at least get some football, right? I'm so tired of talking about freaking Michigan and no sanctions, fines, and stupid, signal stealing gates. Nobody gives a crap about that stuff, or they shouldn't. It's all a bunch of hocus pocus nonsense. There is some talk too about expanding the playoff, mostly again from the Big Ten, who's driving all of these. They were in favor of going to 16 teams and the 4-4. What was it? I think it was 4-4. 4 automatic bids for them, 4 automatic bids for the SEC, 2 for the Big 12, 2 for the for the ACC, 1 for the Group of 5, and then 5 at-large teams. Sure, of course you like that. But now they're talking about they should go to 24 or 28 teams and have 7 automatic bids for the SEC and the Big Ten. Now we will become a true, a true participation trophy tournament. You're going to have teams with 4 and 5 losses in this tournament if you do that. Because, if you look at the Big Ten last year, hold on a second. Let's just go to the rankings, right? So I'll go to the rankings. And oops, shit. Sorry, did I say shit? Let me go to the rankings. And I want to go to 2024. How come it won't give me... maybe I can't go to 2024. It's here, but it won't let me. There we go. All right. So here. So let's just say 7 teams from the SEC. Or we'll start with the Big Ten, since this is their baby. 7 teams. That'd be Ohio State, Oregon, no problem. Penn State, still no problem. Indiana, still no problem. They all made it last year. 3 losses led the way. No team got in the playoff with more than 3 losses last year. Okay. Now we'll go down to Illinois. Still only 3 losses. That's pretty good. I don't have another ranked team, which means I got to go to... I need last year's conference. I need last year's records. I need 2 more teams from the Big Ten. They didn't have anybody else ranked. This is going to be ugly, guys. You ready for this? Iowa with 5 losses. Or Michigan with 5 losses. I got to take 2 more teams, guys. You're either going to have 5 or they're going to have 6 losses. I don't think they would have taken Michigan. I don't think they would have taken USC. So you're talking about Iowa 8-5 and Michigan 8-5 making the playoff. Are you kidding me? Please stop. Let's go to the SEC. Whoa. Texas, Georgia, both made it. They were Tennessee made it as well with 3 losses. Ole Miss just missed with 3 losses. Bama with 4 losses. Okay. South Carolina, 4 losses. And Missouri with 3. So that's not so bad. I got 2 teams with 4 losses from the SEC. But I got 5 losses from the Big Ten. Are you kidding me? This won't work. So please go away and let's not talk about this anymore. I'm begging you. What else? They're also talking about using some enhanced metrics based on strength of schedule or record strength, if you will. They're calling it, I think, rather than strength of schedule, taking some of that into play. I still want them to use the eye test a little bit, please. But that's one of the things that they're going to look at. They say they're going to use that a little bit closer than some of the computer models and whatnot. But let's not totally lose track of, the eye test and people making decisions. Arch Manning has not said, by the way, in the betting, Arch Manning is a favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, based on nothing, of course. Lenore Sellers, I think, is the best player in the country until further notice. We'll see. Arch Manning says his future is unclear, despite Archie Manning, his grandfather, saying, "Don't tank this year, NFL, because my guy ain't coming out. He's playing in 26." He says, "I ain't so sure." I think Arch has a lot of pull and a lot of say in that family, always has, with his kids. If you remember, he steered Peyton Manning away from the Jets when Peyton Manning was going to come out potentially after his junior year. The Jets would have had the first pick. He did not want him going to New York and with the Jets because he didn't think he had the right kind of temperament to play in New York. And he came back for his senior year, and we know what happened after that. And with Eli, he steered him away from San Diego. He told San Diego not to pick him. They did pick him. But the same day we had a trade after the Giants picked Phillip Rivers. They traded their 2 picks, and Arch got what he wanted. I'm not sure Arch really got what he wanted with Arch going to Texas. He wanted Archie to go somewhere he would eat. He told him to go somewhere where he would enjoy the college life, right? Not just because it would be great, not just because he could play right away, which he didn't, obviously. He sat around for 2 years, for the most part, at Texas. But he went somewhere where he would like it, and he loves it in Austin by all accounts. And he may stay. Again, you take out an insurance policy. He's not going to lose any money unless he were to have a devastating injury, God forbid. So I think that will play. CJ Carr has been named the starting quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman with Notre Dame. He beat out Kenny Minchie, which was fairly close, I guess. By the way, his Carr's grandfather is Lloyd Carr, who I mentioned earlier, the former coach at Michigan. Listen, a lot of Notre Dame's success is tied up in how well CJ Carr performs. So we'll see about that. Bachmeier will be the first true freshman to start at quarterback for BYU. As you remember, their senior quarterback, whose name is escaping me at the moment, I was hoping it would come up in this article, but it's not. Left the school amid all these lawsuits and allegations of sexual misconduct that were routinely dropped or summarily dropped. And, where do I go to get my reputation back? Well, it's not at BYU because he left for Tulane. Klubnik, as I said, talked about Dave. I think he's going to have a big, big year this year, by the way. Seasoned. We're going to see against that LSU team. I think it could be a shootout with Clemson and LSU in week 1. Klubnik really talked a lot about Dabo's support over the years when people said he sucked when he first got this job. Good stuff there. Sayan, as I said, was named the starting quarterback versus Texas at Ohio State. Interesting that they did not name him the permanent starter. He did say he would play in week 1. And the Gators quarterback Langway is taking his first reps of the fall after having some injury issues. He's still wearing a non-contact jersey, so he doesn't get hit. He had some injuries before this year, or before last year. He really developed last year into a really good quarterback, especially the second half of the season. When Billy Napier put him in the lineup, he played very, very well. So let's see if he can continue that going forward. What else? I was looking at NCAA football. Well, let me look at the Athletic and see if we've got any news that we missed there. College football we talked about. Streaming guide. I really don't want to get into that. Arch Manning pushed back. We talked about that. Auburn formally claimed 7 additional football national titles, by the way. I'm not sure what that's all about. We'll get into that another time, I guess. So what else? What else you guys got? Been a while since we had a comment. Don't know who's still with us. I know we went on for a while about picks and whatnot, and we did give you guys your say. Listen, we do have guys on the hot seat, which will actually I'll go through the guys. Bill Belichick is interesting. Do not. Depending on what NFL jobs open up next year, I've said this over and over again. I'm not saying he's on a hot seat, but he's got a $1 million buyout after this year. We have no idea what to expect in North Carolina. He's never coached in college. These kids have never been coached by a guy like Bill Belichick before. I mean, he could go 6-6. He could go 9-3. He could go 3-9. I have no idea. Oh, jeez. Sorry. Hiccups. I don't know if I caught Alan. Alan, I hope you got in the Pigskin Pick'em, and I hope you do get in. Kalen DeBoer is another guy. He's not on a hot seat, I don't think so, but, there's pressure on him to do better than last year. Was it a total wasted season, 9-4? No. I mean, listen, Alabama had a lot of bad seasons, as I said, between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban, right? So 9-4 would not be the worst thing that ever happened to them for sure. So I think they're going to improve this year. I have them winning the SEC and making the national championship or the playoff. Luke Fickell, 7-6 his first season, 5-7 last year. Not what Wisconsin fans were thinking about when they lured him from Cincinnati. He had great success there in the AAC. You found out life in the Big Ten. He's an Ohio State guy. But he has not been able to get it going there. He is going to have a new offensive coordinator and former Kansas assistant Jeff Grimes. He's got a new quarterback coming in, and Billy Edwards, who transferred from Maryland. This is I think a huge cornerstone season for Luke Fickell, and whether he continues to be the Badgers head coach or not. It just have not. They famously won on running the football, but I don't know if he can do that anymore. Barry Alvarez, Brett Bielema, Paul Chris all had great runs there running the football, but the game has changed so much. And the Badgers tried to throw the ball more under former offensive coordinator Phil Longo, but it didn't work out. They didn't have, they brought Van Dyke in there last year from Miami, and that didn't work out. He got hurt, lost his job. Luke Fickell needs to turn it around. I think Luke Fickell better win 8 games this year. Luke Fickell better make a bowl game this year. Hugh Freeze, we've talked about a lot. They were 5 and what were they last year? 2023, they were 6-6, and they lost in the Music City Bowl before he got there. He wasn't shy about criticizing his quarterbacks last year. He now has Jackson Arnold, who, by all accounts, is not setting the world on fire in the preseason. But we'll see what that looks like. He came in from Oklahoma, as I said, after he lost his job there to the guy with the gambling allegations, Mateer. So we'll see what happens there. I think Hugh Freeze will survive. Mike Gundy, another guy. Again, he went from the penthouse to the outhouse faster than anybody you can imagine. No wins last year. 18 straight winning seasons he had at Oklahoma State. He went 3-9 and went winless in the Big 12, and that's not going to get you a lot of job security. He nearly lost his job last year. He had to take a huge pay cut, had to redo his staff, specifically his defensive staff, and we'll see whether Mike Gundy, who's one of my favorites, survives another year. Billy Napier's still under the gun a little bit. They did go 8-5 and 4-4 in the SEC, but one of the toughest schedules any teams had to play in recent memory, or maybe any memory. They did lose they played 5 teams that were ranked in the top 15, and they lost all 5, but they won 8 other games and looked much, much better in the second half of the season, especially after DJ Langway took over as quarterback. He's had some injury issues this spring, as we said, and summer. We'll see how that works out. Mike Norvell at Florida State, a dismal 2-10 record last year after really getting screwed out of a playoff the year before. Sorry, just the way I feel. It's going to be very interesting to see whether they can get it going and save Mike Norvell's job. It's still a tough schedule, and I saw 6-6 as a high water mark for this Florida State team this year. I don't think the transfer of Castellanos from BC is going to really be that effective. Bringing Gus Malzone in as the offensive coordinator is a risky move for Mike Norvell. And I think if this team doesn't find a way to get to a bowl game, Mike Norvell probably will be gone. Good coach. He'll end up somewhere else. Hello, Matt. Good to have you with us, my friend. Again, thank you for the great cards. I've still got them sitting here next to me on my desk, Mike or Matt. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet. I've been thinking about doing something and aligning them on my wall here in front of me, because you can't see the wall behind me because I use my studio. So anyway, we'll see. You can't see the wall in front of me now that I think about it either, but I don't know. We'll think of something. But good to have you with us, Matt. We only got about 5 to 6 minutes left, it looks like here. We're just going over some news. I'll reiterate here. I'll go through my picks again real quick. I didn't write down all my picks actually. Let me reiterate. In the power conferences, I gave you my favorite to win and a dark horse. Big 12, Kansas State wins. Kansas is a dark horse. SEC, Alabama wins. South Carolina is a dark horse. Big 10, Oregon wins. Nebraska is a dark horse, but Nebraska makes the playoff. ACC, Clemson is back. And Georgia Tech is a dark horse, but Miami, I think, also makes the tournament. The AAC, I had Tulane as the favorite. Navy as the dark horse. I don't know what that conference is because that's not a real conference. Conference USA. Let me just go back down here. Straight down. I'll give you some. And if you got anything you want to add here, Matt, feel free. College football related today. I got to write the rest of these down. Anyway, I've got Liberty as the favorite in Conference USA. And the dark horse I had here was, bear with me, Sam Houston, who's going to be my underdog pick this week, by the way. The Independents, Notre Dame will get to the playoff. In the MAC, I've got Ohio as the favorite and Buffalo as the dark horse. Mountain West, UNLV is my favorite. Fresno State is my dark horse, and I've got Vegas getting the nod for the Group of 5 pick in the playoff. In the Sun Belt, or Southeast, that's not it. The Sun Belt Conference, I've got James Madison as the favorite, and I've got Texas State, Texas State as the dark horse, and that should be it. My playoff rankings were this: the 4 seeded teams will be Oregon, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Clemson, not necessarily in that order, followed by Ohio State, not necessarily in this order. Let me go through this. 5 is going to be Texas. 6 is going to be Penn State. 7 is going to be Ohio State. 8 is going to be Kansas State out of the Big 12. 9 will be Nebraska. 10 will be Miami, and 11 will be Illinois, and 12 will be UNLV with that Group of 5 pick. Remember, next year, the rankings will be the rankings, no buys. Yanks were crushing it last night. Oh, my God. Yes, we'll talk about that on the Friday MLB. Now, here's the thing. We're not going to talk a lot of baseball, and we got 3 minutes left. Got to win some way other than hitting, 9 home runs a game. That's all I'm going to say. Great job last night. Go UCLA. I don't see much. Let me give you this. I haven't done UCLA's. You see, UCLA and I only got a couple minutes left here, Matt. But UCLA and USC were so poorly ready to move to the Big Ten where the game is, the guys are big and strong in the trenches on the offensive line, the defensive line. UCLA was not ready. USC was not ready to compete in that type of football. Much different than what they were playing in the Pac-12. Oregon was more prepared for that. Washington was even more prepared for that. Let's see what we'll have UCLA doing this year under their second-year head coach. Foster. Sorry, Foster. I'm going to have them. I'll give you a win against Utah. I'm not sure what kind of winning his team's going to look like. I need to see a game. I'll give you a win at home against Utah. I'm going to have you lose on the road to Vegas. I love Vegas and Dan Mullen this year. Beat New Mexico. That's 2-1. Lose at Northwestern, 2-2. Lose at Penn State, 2-3. Lose at Michigan State, 2-4. Give you a win at home against Maryland. That's 3-4. Lose at Indiana. That's 3-5. Lose at one of my dark horse teams for the whole year in Nebraska. That's 3-6. Lose Ohio State. That's 3-7. I'll give you a win at Washington at home. 4. What does that make it? I think you're going to lose it at USC. So I've got you winning 1. Boy, not good. 2, 3, 4. I got you 4-8, Matt. Really, yeah. Deshaun Foster, thank you. Great running back out of UCLA, and a great running back in the NFL. But I think it's going to be another tough year at least. Nico coming in there. There's a distraction of that. I don't think he's going to be a big difference maker there. I could be wrong. 4-8, 6-6 would be a high watermark here for UCLA in my mind. Just saying. Well, we got to wrap it up. It's 8:30. It's time to go. Guys, it's been fun. Matt, thanks for popping in here late. I can't get to my music. I don't know what is going on today. Everything doesn't seem to want to work right. There it is. I think I must have closed. I can't get to my Why do I have to do all this? Anyway, there we go. I can play my music now. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week at 7 p.m. Might have to cut it short next week. I got a fantasy football draft at 8. Might see if we can multitask for a while as we try to do that. Turn that up too soon. We'll see what we can do. I'll catch you on Friday morning with Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook at 8 a.m. Eastern. We'll have the MLB update at 3 p.m. and we'll get into that Yankee chatter, Matt. And then Sunday, we got the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, of course. So there you go. They're my team, so see what happens. Agree. Good having you with us, Matt. Have a great night. Everybody participate tonight. Thank you. Thanks to all the groups that let me share. You guys have a great, great, great weekend. And enjoy college football for real. Let's go.